Okay, so I'm Rick from This Day in Metal, and tonight I have the absolute honor and privilege to talk to Aaron from Parasite to talk about the new creation. Because you have your debut album, Forever We Burn, out on September 27th through Candlelight.
All correct so far,
Yep,
Rick. You're doing a
brilliant.
grand job.
So, for anybody who's kind of unfamiliar with the project, what's the kind of the creative vibe for it, like the ethos behind it, like with the name and the history, etc.
Well, I mean, I was busy with My Dying Bride when High Parasite started to form, and it formed when our guitar tech and indeed Greg McIntosh's guitar tech, Danny Toombs, wrote some music on his laptop and sent me it saying, Aaron, I can't do death metal vocals. I know you can. Would you mind doing some death metal on this track? I've done some clean vocals. Can you do the death metal stuff? So I did it, and it was great, and I really liked the song. And then he sent me a few more songs and a few more, and then he suggested, all right, I'm really loving where this is going. I'm going to form a band. And I said, all right, great, knock yourself out. And then a few weeks went by, and he said, right, I've got a band together, a whole bunch of people I don't even know. And he said, we're going to Manchester to record a demo. Can you come along? So I said, yeah, no problem. So we went along and we did the demo. And then the demo got touted to various labels, and Spinefarm picked it up, which was great, you know. And I'm saying, brilliant, well done, Danny. You've done a great job there, fabulous. And then it was only when we started recording the album, you know, we got chatting, and Greg was there from PL, and we just sort of said, so Aaron, you're in the band, or you're not in the band? Are you in the band, or are you a guest? And I kind of looked around and I said, I think I'm in the band now.
Okay.
And everyone's like, yeah, all right, great, you're in the band.
Yeah.
So, you know, at no point did they ask me, you know, can you join? And at no point I didn't say, I want to be in. It just sort of evolved, and I became a
Yeah.
member of the band. And that's kind of how that happened. So Danny wrote all the songs on his laptop and then played it to the band. The band all learned it and recorded it in the studio. Greg threw some guitars on as well. I say threw, he probably put loads on. And Greg did some samples as well. Anyone who's familiar with Host
Yeah.
will understand the kind of samples that Greg does. So, of course, you know, we're not trying to hide the fact that there are clearly elements of Paradise Lost within the music, because
Yeah.
Greg's all over it. And that's absolutely fine. I mean, they're a great band. Why wouldn't you want them all over your sound? And then it just sort of spiraled. It grew and grew, and I you know, I'm still rocking away in My Dying Bride, thinking, I think I'm in two bands now. And I looked at the schedule. You know, between My Dying Bride albums is often 3 or 4 years,
Okay.
and in a live capacity, we do about 10 to 12, maybe 15 shows a year. So there is acres of space for me to do another band. So I
Yeah.
thought, all right, yeah, let's see how I cope with being in two bands. And so far, so good. It's an absolute doddle. I mean, obviously, MDB have taken a bit of a hiatus at the moment, which has given me even more space, which I'm sure I'll fill with other things. In fact,
Yeah.
there's a few more ideas which we might get onto, which rather than sitting twiddling my thumbs, I'm going the opposite way. I'm trying to cram in as many things as possible. I can hear death knocking on the door behind me. So I'm trying to cram in my life as
Yeah. Yeah.
many creative branches as I possibly can, because I'm doing some poetry stuff in a cathedral in Antwerp in January.
Fantastic.
And then I am forming another band with Mark Deeks from Arth.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff coming from me, and I feel really good about it, because the other members of High Parasite are considerably younger than I am, which is a
Okay.
bit annoying, but it means that effervescent energy they give off has taken years off me, and I feel
Yeah.
bloody great. I really feel great. It's like I didn't know I needed this, and now I've got it. I relish it. It makes me feel great, and I'm absolutely filled with energy again. It's marvelous.
Oh, that's fantastic. So obviously you've mentioned Gregor from Paragraph Lost. How was that kind of working with him in more of a producer capacity? Because obviously you guys have got, you know, the history with your respective bands, and obviously you toured all over the world together and things like that. What was it like working with him in like that studio producer kind of feel?
It was great because I've socialized with Greg many times. I
Mm.
mean, in fact, it was uh, the last social engagement. Danny had a Halloween party at his house, and Greg was there, and it was great. We got on, we chatted for ages. He's a lovely bloke, and I've never seen him produce, obviously, before. And when he was in the studio, you could see him as the music's playing. He's not fanning around on his phone or goofing around. He's properly paying attention to everything that's going
Yeah,
on. And he'll make suggestions, and we'll have a look at the suggestions. And if we all think it's a good idea, we'll do it. If it doesn't work out, he's quite happy to say, right, well, at least we tried it.
yeah,
We'll go back to the original idea. And because we get on so well, it's easy for us to say to be able to confront. That's probably not the right word, but to confront each other about not sure about that idea. I think we
yeah,
should skip. Or yes, let's give it a whirl. We can spend time on that, and it bears fruit. And so it was really good. And he's super professional. I mean, I can't listen to music in a studio the way that other people can. They somehow can pick something out. Again, using a tree as an analogy, they can pick out a slightly different colored leaf. To me, it's all noise in a beautiful way, and
mm,
I just kind of I take the thing as a whole. But people like Greg and the engineer, whose name I forget, unfortunately, they can hear little things and go, "I'm gonna stop that a minute. Can we just hear that that ride symbol's not quite right?" I'm thinking, what? Have you got the ears of a bat? How are you
well,
hearing this stuff? But they love it and they're all over it and they
yeah.
become masters of it.
I suppose obviously we from he's got that obviously that added extra of from a musical background.
Of
So
course.
obviously not only does he play, but from kind of listening to that in a producer, he's got kind of one cap on with the producer, but then another cap on being a musician.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, I don't know, but I suspect he has quite a lot to do with the production of Paradise Lost albums
Yeah,
and Strigoi and Host. He's not just a musician; he's a very well adept producer as well.
yeah.
And he did a great job on the album. We are really hoping he'll get involved on the second album too, which we've literally just started.
Oh, fantastic.
there's
No,
no hanging around here.
no, because that's it. You've got the launch show, obviously the day after the release, haven't you? So on the 28th.
That's right. On the 27th, Friday the
Oh, yeah.
27th, myself and a bunch of the other bands. Unfortunately, Danny can't make it. The rest of us are going to Dark Earth Records in
Okay,
Liverpool
yeah.
to do a bit of a launch and a bit of a
Oh,
chit chat,
fantastic.
Q&A, and sign some merch and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And yeah, the very next day, Saturday, the 28th of September, is our debut show at Night
yeah.
Train in Bradford.
Excellent. Because obviously that's kind of like a hometown show almost for you, isn't it?
Yeah, we kind of always wanted the debut show to be in Yorkshire somewhere. I
Yeah,
mean, Yorkshire, if you consider North, South, East, and West Yorkshire, it's bloody massive.
yeah,
But Bradford's a pretty close one, and we rehearse in Bradford. In fact, we
yeah,
rehearse in Paradise Lost's rehearsal room. So it's not a big trek for us. And we've all seen gigs at Night Train. It's a great little venue. It's not
yeah,
huge, but it does what it needs to do. And they've had some great bands through the doors, and we're happy to be in that list of bands. And we've no idea what it's going to be like. I've never performed on stage with a band like High Parasite before. Obviously I've spent 34 years in My Dying Bride doing what I do in My Dying Bride, but I can't do that in High Parasite because the music's far too energetic. And I'm only just singing half the vocals because Danny's doing the other half. So, oops, excuse me. So I'm going to have to buck up my dance moves to fill in the gaps when I'm not singing.
yeah. Because you've also got Heather Thompson on some of the tracks as well, haven't you?
She's on about 3 or 4 tracks
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, she was in the studio. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the studio then. Obviously, I met Heather a number of
Yeah.
times. She's lovely. But I wish I'd have been there on the day she was doing the vocals, because when I
Mm.
heard them afterwards, what little hair I've got stood up on end. And I just thought, what a great singer. She's
Yeah,
just got a great voice, and it works perfectly for
yeah,
us. So obviously, she can't make the live show, but we've recorded her. She'll be on the backing
yeah,
tapes or
yeah.
whatever it's called these days. So she'll be there in spirit. But wow, she gilds the lily for us, and it's brilliant.
Because from listening to it, for me personally, I don't know kind of what everybody else takes from this. It kind of has a real kind of, say, early 2000s like Gothic metal sound to it, but you've kind of almost taken that sound and added kind of a modern twist to it 20 plus years later.
Yeah. And I think that works well, because a lot of people of a certain age liked that era.
Yeah,
It was, for some people, it was their formative years. For me, I tapped into it and I liked it a lot.
yeah,
Uh, and clearly, Danny is heavily into that as well. And he's borrowed elements of this, that, and the other to help create us, and created this death pop sound that.
yeah. Because I was kind of getting elements of, say, like bands like Trail of Tears and Atrocity and those kind of that kind of feel towards the album.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, and it's stuff that we all like. At no point has someone tried to introduce something where we've all winced a little bit and said, "I don't
Yeah.
think that works." We all seem to be saying, "Yes, we like that, and we like that, and we like that." Everybody come to the party, and
Mm.
it somehow works. I don't feel, when I listen to the album, I don't feel there's anything that spikes and sticks out like, "Oh, perhaps we shouldn't have used it." Everything seems to fit really well.
Yeah. Because I say you've got like the cleaner elements with with Heather's vocals, and you've got some of the the harsher kind of metal growly type vocals, which back then kind of it was always like a winning combination because you had all of those styles together.
There is a lot going on when it comes to vocals on this album, because Danny, as I say, originally he did the clean vocals, because he can't do the death metal stuff. So he initially asked me to do the screaming and shouting, which I love doing.
Yeah.
It's a great way to vent anger, and I think it's good for you. Everybody should shout now and again. And so I did that, and then there was sometimes he would send me some music with no vocals whatsoever, and he would just say, "Aaron, knock yourself out." And so I would write lyrics and lines, and I would record clean vocals for him, as a guide for him, with a note saying, "This is what you're going to sing, and underneath it, I'm going to do the death metal vocals." And he would listen to it and said, "Aaron, no, 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 it already sounds great. You do the clean vocals." So I'm like, "Oh, all right, fine. I didn't see that coming." So I do clean and death metal vocals. There's some on oh gosh, which song is it? Drag Me Under, possibly, where the vocals even go into black metal, and we purposely, I don't know what the phrase is, sort of down tuned it so it sounded like a cassette tape of a black metal band.
Okay, yeah.
It's rough and ready, and that's exactly what we wanted. It's
Mm.
scratchy black metal screaming. There's some deep death metal stuff, and as I said, there's some whispering, some clean vocals from
Yeah.
me. I mean, variety is the spice of life. We don't want to keep doing stuff. He does that, I do this. He does that, I do this, and it stays like that all the way through. We're trying to add variety to make it interesting for not just ourselves, but for anyone who listens to it.
Because obviously after the launch, it's not very long then before you go on tour, is it? With Regular Filth.
Yeah, that's right. And in fact, just before then, we managed to land three headlining shows in Holland. So we're going to do those first, and then when we get back, it's going to be strange, because obviously we've got Bradford, then the three Dutch shows,
Yeah.
all of which we're going to sing the entire album plus a couple of bonus tracks.
Oh, excellent.
And it's going to mean the Cradle shows will be over in the blink of an eye, because I don't know how long we'll get, 25 minutes, half an hour. And for us, that's just it's a handful of songs, and it'll be over before we know it. And so that the tour will be great. but a bit after playing the whole album to other people, playing
Yeah.
just a smidgen of it to a few other people isn't quite as, we want to give more. But it is what it is, we'll go with it. And I've tried to, I've said to the guys, don't get super excited that we're playing some pretty big venues. It won't be full when we walk out on stage because everybody is at the local Wetherspoons waiting for the main act. We've all done it. When we go out on a wet Tuesday at 6:30 or whatever it'll be, there'll be 20 or 30 people there. Get used to it. It might be better than that. It might be worse than that. But it ain't going to be packed when we walk on stage. And, they just need to get that into their brain so they're not super disappointed when they walk out and find 3 people and a dog.
Well, I know there's quite a few people, including myself, looking to rush back from Damnation on the Saturday to go to Rock City.
Right. Because I
yeah.
think Cradle are playing Damnation, aren't they? But we're not, unfortunately.
They're kind of doing, I think, some of the older, like Principle of Evil Made Flesh. Then obviously they're doing Rock City, so.
We had a word with the Damnation people. Well, I think we did. I don't really get involved. Danny's the manager, and then we've got Ian Shaw, who's sort of helping us promote shows. And I think they had a word with the people at Damnation saying, look, is there any way we can squeeze High Parasite anywhere? I think they tried, but it's too late. But that's fine. We'll go home, have a curry, put our feet up and head to Nottingham the next day.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan. Instead, we've been busy with kind of working towards the second album as well. Was that just kind of a natural progression with with the creative process? Did it just kind of feel that you were on such a kind of a positive run?
Well, I wasn't, but Danny was, because I have various things I do during the day. Still working on MDB stuff. I do Photoshop work for other people. I've got a young daughter who I take to school and pick up and bits and bobs, and then I've got some hobbies I like to indulge in. Whereas Danny doesn't have any of that. He's 100% songwriting all the time. He doesn't watch television. He doesn't go to the cinema. He doesn't go out to restaurants. He doesn't go to the pub. He sits on his laptop and he writes and he writes and he writes. And he told me about a month ago he's got 11 songs for the second album already in the bag. And I'm thinking, Jesus, I hope you're not expecting me to start writing lyrics for them right now, because I'm learning the lyrics for the first bloody album. I'm not going to start writing lyrics for the second album. So I think once the album's out and we've got a few gigs under our belt, I think November time, I know he's going to send me 3 songs, because I said, do not send me 11 songs. It won't look like fun, and it won't feel like fun. It will feel like a hard slog, and I don't want it to feel like that. Send me 3 songs at a time, and when don't badger me every day saying, have you done them? Have you done them? Have you done them? Send me 3 songs and I'll work my way through them, and when I finish them, I'll return them to you, because I want to enjoy it. I don't want it to become a task. So he's agreed, and he said, right, in your own time, because we need to enjoy this. I don't want it to suck straight away.
Okay, that makes sense. So obviously we've say hobbies and interests kind of during the day and things. Is there any new music or anything like that that's kind of caught your attention this year that you've had a chance maybe to listen to? Or
well, we were looking for support bands for the Bradford show, and someone recommended a band called Grey Wave.
Okay.
And I'd never heard of them, so I did a little Google thing, and the single was great, and I thought it was really good. And I went onto Bandcamp and I downloaded the album, Dancing in the Dust or Dusk, one of the two. And I thought it was absolutely great. And I thought, right, we'll have a word with these guys. And I sent a couple of emails and got 0 response. So that, unfortunately, they are not supporting us. But still, I thought the music was great. Really, really cool band. and another, but I don't think their album came out this year, or maybe it did. Damnation's Hammer,
Okay, yeah,
just from across the Pennines there, Lancashire. Another great album. If you like Celtic Frost, and I do, they
yeah,
are right up my alley. Really, really cool album. So that's two bands I've got on the turntable,
yeah,
and in the car all the time. I just think they're great, and such a contrast as well, because Grey Wave have got a lovely female singer and sort of indie style distorted
yeah.
guitars, whereas Damnation's Hammer, Tim is proper Tom Warrior, Celtic Frost grunting, and
Yeah.
music's heavy as fuck. But I like music with contrast.
Excellent. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure. So, I said I've spoken to kind of other interviewers who have kind of interviewed you recently, and always been very complimentary.
Well, I think it's easy to be nice and informative. I mean, sometimes, Rick, I can jibber jabber for ages and ages because I'm enthusiastic about the stuff that I do, and I want people to know everything
Yeah,
about it. There's no secrets about High Parasite.
no,
We're grafters, and what we've grafted is on the table for everyone to enjoy. And hopefully, we'll start seeing some cool reviews for the album, and we can't wait for it to come out, because we've done the 3 videos. People have given us great positive feedback, and hopefully it will do well, and I'll be able to buy an Aston Martin.
that's great. You said, because I said I've had the digital version for a while now, and I'm just kind of just even though I've heard the album, still at that point where I'm just waiting for the physical copy
Yeah, me
to
too.
arrive through the door, so I can run upstairs, shut the door, put it on the record player, and just you know appreciate it all over again.
Yeah, frustratingly for me, Danny got his copy 2 days ago. So I'm straight on the email to the record
Yeah,
label saying, come on, guys, sort
yeah.
yourself out.
Awesome. Well, take care of yourself. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you at Rock City.
Great, appreciate that, Rick. Thanks very much. If you see me, come and say hello.
I will do, absolutely.
We'll be mingling.
Yeah, okay.
All right, cool. Cheers,
Yeah,
mate.
take
Thank you very much.
care. Take care. Bye.